We have the founder and CEO of Top Tutors for Us, Angelica Harris, next on City Corner. I'm Sarah Thompson, and welcome to City Corner. Today, I'm honored to be joined by Angelica Harris. She is the founder and CEO of Top Tutors for Us, but I'm going to kind of brag on her for a little bit before we get started. She holds 3 degrees from Washington University right here in St. Louis. Prior to going to college, she received more than $1.5 million in scholarships to top universities. On top of that, she's a recent Arch Grants Award winner. She's also a winner of the Scandalaris Venture Competition, and she's started now her own company. And she is only 26 years old, and her birthday was just the other day. So much to talk about when you hear her story about starting Top Tutors for Us. It's very inspirational, and I think you'll hear about grit and perseverance and really never giving up on your goals and on your hopes. So with that said, it's such an honor to have you here. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I know I read about you. I have to admit, I read a story in the paper, and then I follow a lot with Arch Grants, and I saw that you were one of the recent award winners. And I thought your story was really fantastic, especially I think for anybody with children people have gone through education, level education. It's like this speaks to them when we get into the details of it about your experiences and what's led to you to where you are now. People first, just to get it out of the way, and we've got this gorgeous banner here. First, before we get started, what is, so people know, Top Tutors for Us?
Yeah, so Top Tutors for Us uses cultural insights to help disadvantaged students break past educational barriers. And what we know is that students of color, Black students, really struggle with standardized testing, like the ACT. Only 5% of Black students hit the college and career readiness benchmark. And there's not a test prep program designed to help them increase their score so that, as you saw in my story, really help me get those scholarships and get admitted into top universities.
Well, let's talk about your story. So as much as I love to always say St. Louis native, you are a New Orleans native. And your story, I mean, when Hurricane Katrina hit, you were 7 years old. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So you're pretty young. So talk about your upbringing in New Orleans, and specifically your educational experience, and where, before you came to WashU, sort of what was going on there that then, of course, will lead to Top Tutors for Us. But what was happening during your time in high school down in New Orleans? Yeah,
so I was a really strong student in New Orleans, and I had a 4.0 GPA. I had big goals to go to a top university. I also come from a very big family. That's what we have down in New Orleans. And, I'm one of 6, and my dad's one of 11. And so my parents couldn't afford to send me to college, so I knew that if I wanted to go to a top university, I had to get the scholarships and pay for it, get finances to pay for it myself. And so by the time it came time to take the ACT, which I thought I would just excel at, just because
you were a good student. You were smart. Yeah.
Exactly. My initial score in 11th grade was a 16. And so I was really just taken aback that I was like, wait, something's not matching. Like, how, like, this test must be fake. Something's going on. And I then forced my parents to send me to one of those big brand test prep companies. It was $1,000.
Wow, they're expensive. They were expensive back even in my day. They were expensive, and for you. So you did do one of those programs. Did it help?
It did not help, unfortunately. And when I got there, it was not what I expected. Everyone there already had high scores. Like there were students in there with 29s, just trying to move up to a 31, and the instructor was 2 times my age, and I was also the only minority in the classroom, so I was really intimidated in that environment. And my score didn't improve, and so I knew that if I wanted to increase my score, I had to create my own test prep program.
So, and that's amazing. So let's just pause right there. So here you are, clearly a gifted, a bright student. You're in high school, 4.0 or higher GPA. You do one of the test preps, you're applying to colleges, and you're like, this isn't working for me. It's not increasing my scores. And so you then say, I'm going to develop my own program? Or what was the thought? Like, what was it that you were noticing wasn't working for you, but what was it that caught your attention? Oh, if I try this, what was that?
Yeah, so what I noticed was that in the test prep program I'd done, the big brand one, they were just teaching me strategies.
Strategy.
And that's important. The test is about strategies, but it's also important to make sure you have that foundation laid.
Okay.
And I didn't know that, but I had actually gaps in my education.
Got it.
So even though I was moving along, there were gaps that I had to identify from taking the test, concepts I didn't master, and I had to address those before understanding those strategies.
And so that's something at the time that stood out to you, which is these core fundamental gaps. That's so interesting. I mean, really, and I say this as a parent, that it's you're noticing, oh, I didn't quite get this at this time from whenever, and that's affecting my ability to be tested on this now. And so you were able to develop a program based off that?
Yeah.
In high school, you developed a program?
Yeah.
So then you apply, so then obviously whatever you were doing works well, because then you start applying, did you end up scoring better because of your own self sort of taught new preparation?
Yeah,
Wow.
So what I did, I broke, because the standardized test, the beauty about it is that it's standard. So all the concepts that are tested are the same across all the exams. The questions are just asked differently.
Yeah.
And I broke down all the concepts and pinpointed the important formula. So anytime I saw that specific type of question, I would remember the concept and the formula that was associated. So it was a huge spreadsheet that I made.
That is just, I mean, just to hear this, it's like, and you're in high school. You're what, like 17 then when you're doing this? 16,
Roughly,
17,
yeah,
17.
16, 17, yeah, 17.
Wow. So when you finally went senior year, when you're taking your test, how high did it jump to what? It was, you said, like 18, 16, you said?
Yeah, initially it was a 16, and I took it again, got a 29, and then took it again and got a 32.
That's
so
amazing.
A 16-point jump.
Right. So then you apply to colleges. Well, congratulations, all those years ago.
Yeah.
And so that stuck with you, because then you apply to college, you come here to WashU, and you get all these scholarship offers. What was it about WashU that really spoke to you?
Yeah, I really loved that WashU. It felt community-like. There were many top universities I'd visited, but it felt cutthroat. And I also was admitted to the John B. Irvin Scholars Program, which is a family that you're entering, people that come from very similar backgrounds, and it's also an inspiration for top tutors.
Wow.
And so that, and then also I was a competitive golfer growing up, so I also gained a spot on the golf team, so that was the check and all I needed to come to St. Louis.
It was everything. Wow, that's so impressive. So you're at WashU. What was your major, your undergrad major? What was your major?
So I majored in finance and ended up also adding another degree in computer science undergrad.
Wow. And so you get out of college and I said 3 degrees from WashU. So
then a master's in computer science.
And then you did your master's. So when is it that you're thinking, hey, I was on to something? I think I read in one of the articles that you had even college admissions officer saying to you, like, I think you're on to something here with what you've developed. I mean, that's phenomenal to me that like at such a young age you created, not just as you said, an approach that's a strategy, but you really broke down, hey, this is what's actually happening. And if it's happening to me, it's probably happening to other students, and that you could end up to package that and turn it into commercially into a business, which is what you've done. So when did that idea say, hey, I'm onto something, I should move forward with it?
So when I was right after my senior year, my dad had told his friend about like my improvement in my test score, and my dad's friend said, "Oh, my son needs help with the ACT. Can your daughter help him?" And so I tutored him, and he also got a big jump, going from an 18 to a 27. And I just became a test prep tutor all throughout undergrad and grad school, tutoring students all across the country, partnering with nonprofit organizations. And most of the students I worked with were minority, Black students. And I then figured out that my last semester of grad school, while doing my master's in computer science, I then looked at the data that it's across the board that Black students are really struggling with this exam. And the summer before, I had participated in this accelerator entrepreneurship program where I did customer discovery, and found out that Black students also are, were complaining about experiencing microaggression in tutoring sessions and et cetera. So the idea was, what if I can, I'm around a lot of really smart Black students at WashU. What if I train them with my tutoring program and then match them to these Black high school students who are looking for that support system? We can make a really big difference.
It's just amazing. It's just really amazing. I mean, and this leads us then to Top Tutors for Us, which was founded really in last year, then 2022, like officially. And this is kind of where everything sort of opens up to you. And so we're going to get into some of those details I want to in the second half. For now on the screen, we're going to take a look at just information if you want to go to find out more about Top Tutors for Us. We've kind of queued it up for you right now beautifully. Angelica has started that. So it's empowering students to dream, and you can learn more about that. What we're really going to do in the second segment of the show is kind of go through what the organization does and get into some of those details. But I love hearing, Angelica, your personal story.
Thank you so
I
much.
think it's just remarkable. I mean, just because I think what you've done so well is you just never gave up. I mean, and I know that sounds so cliche, but when high school students, they have to feel comfortable and confident and supported and advocated for, and that you were doing this not just from your family but for yourself, and then to break it down like that is really just so extraordinary.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's so great. It's so great. Well, we're going to take a quick break, but stay with us. We're going to have more. We're going to get into what Top Tutors for Us does and break it down. We'll have more. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this break.
What I love about St. Louis is the 79 unique neighborhoods nestled into 108 city parks, including Forest Park, which is actually larger than Central Park in New York, and of course, the beautiful Tower Grove Park where I'm at now. Oh, the St. Louis Blues. We've got the St. Louis Surge, two-time WBCBL champions. We've got Harris Stowe, WashU, St. Louis University, and of course, the 11-time World Series champion, St. Louis Cardinals. So come experience St. Louis.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Hi, I'm Sarah Thompson, and welcome back to City Corner. Today, I'm joined by Angelica Harris. She is the founder and CEO of TopTutorsForUs, and we just spent the first segment going over her story and her background that led her to start and found TopTutorsForUs. And again, I'm just so blown away. I really feel like and part of the reason that you were going to be giving like a TED Talk in 5 years or have a book or something. And I at least will say you were here with us in the STL TV studios, because I think what really speaks to me is not just that you have started this company to help other students, particularly students of color and Black students, to excel at ACTs, SATs, at preparation for that. But that just your commitment, you're taking your experience and kind of circling back and then helping others. I just think it's, and in such an interesting and smart way. I think it's fascinating. You wanted to add something too about with your background. You were talking about growing up in New Orleans, that your parents were in education as well. Is that you?
Yeah, so my parents are actually, they run a childcare center in New Orleans, in one of the most under resourced areas, Holly Grove. And they've been doing it for 30 years. And so I grew up working there, working with the kids, and I knew that education started at that early age, and so I really wanted to be that resource for those students and close that equity gap.
And you had it sounds like a pretty organic way of understanding the value of education and how a child's brain develops and a child is educated, a student can be educated. No, I think that's fascinating. Well, let's get into Top Tutors for Us. So, I mean, when you're on the website, it says by Black tutors for Black students. And I'm not sure if that's on, obviously the tagline, empowering students to dream, but when I was reading from the Arch Grants material, and that you design educational programs and curriculums for predominantly Black public schools and students of color. So you've kind of set that up. So we visit your site, we can put up some of those photos for that, but how does this work? So you work with students of color particularly, and all of your team, they are tutors of color. Is that correct? So kind of explain more. Yeah,
so we recruit our tutors. What we've learned is that cultural competency is super important in education and actually can help close the racial education achievement gap. So a statistic is when Black students have one or more Black teachers, their graduation rate increases by over 30%. And so but Black teachers make up less than 6% of the teacher workforce. And so we bring representation to schools. We recruit our tutors from top universities, hence the top. We like to say from Harvard to Howard. And our tutors must have scored a 28 or higher on their ACT and a 1310 or higher on their SAT. We vet them for their past teaching and leadership experiences. And it's an online platform, and so we use a matching algorithm to match the students with the perfect top tutor. Wow.
Well, let's go ahead, and I'm going to call for some graphics, which we just have kind of pulled some stuff from your website. And this one people can go and visit, and it'll show them when they go to the site, it explains what you do, and then we have what we do. And so you have, and I'm going to get into this too, I asked you about this, so you not only do the Top Tutors for Us one-on-one tutoring, but you also then have contracts, did I read this correctly, with the KIPP St. Louis, you have big contracts. Congratulations on that. So are you then your team going into schools, or is it still the one-on-one through these larger school districts or school programs?
Yeah, so we do have a direct-to-consumer and direct-to-schools models. So with our direct-to-consumers, parents can go on our website, toptutorsforus.com, and fill out our questionnaire, and then a sales rep will get in touch with them to onboard their child into our system. We also partner with schools, and so the beauty about partnering with schools is that the program is completely free for students. So with the schools, they work in small groups with the tutor through our Top Tutors test prep program.
And so you're mainly doing this, so you're based here in St. Louis.
That's correct.
And so mainly right now, are you working with students? I think you're even working with schools outside of the state, is that correct? So is that then virtual?
Yep, our entire program is virtual. and we use an online classroom where students engage and interact with a tutor. And so this is perfect because we're able to source our tutors from all across the country, from these top universities like Harvard, Stanford, MIT, Howard, Morehouse. And the students, we can, we're in St. Louis, and we're also working with New Orleans public schools and New Orleans. So it allows us to be everywhere.
I noticed on your site, and we can throw up some screenshots of that, you have a blog on there, and I thought it was some pretty topical stuff, and we can take a look at that because I was looking at some of the topics, and I know one of the current ones is now, I feel like I'm dating myself here, but schools aren't all requiring standardized test scores anymore. I mean, gosh, I wish that was the case, but you have us in your blog over there. One of the topics is there something more to that though? So explain, some of you have this blog going on so that there's these topical discussions about standardized testing. Where is, if you don't mind me asking, with like the ACT scores and college admissions, how is that weighted right now? Is that a big component still?
Yeah, there still are top universities that require the ACT in their admissions program. However, there are some really top schools that are test optional. And like WashU, for example. But we still see that students with those higher test scores get more scholarship money. And what's also really unique about our program is that because we use academic skill building, these skills actually boost students' GPAs. And prepare them better in the classroom. So it goes beyond just standardized testing.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate you making that comment because I know that college admissions has changed, continues to change, and that environment changes, but the importance of what you're doing. And I like your reference to the cultural competency because I feel that was the one thing with standardized testing all the time that continued to come up, which is when we look at performance on them, why is it that certain groups do better and more than others? And there were so many different factors that go into that. And so it sounds like you have just really created your own formula and Top Tutors for Us to really address this. And so you work with, do you have a big team, or is it kind of like, are you just pulling late nights here doing all this? Or we have a photo, I think, with your team. So I know you do work with others, but how's that going in the development of your company on that side?
Yeah, I do still pull like nighters. But on our team, so we have 8 team members, and we have 2 full-time software engineers. Actually, that's our engineering team there.
Okay.
And we also have 5 business analysts.
Wow.
So they're part-time.
Got it.
So
that's awesome. Well, I
a
want
ton of mentors.
What's that?
A ton of mentors.
And then your mentors. Well, I do want to make sure in the time that we have that we show testimonials. So we have a few graphics. You use this a lot on social media, which is, I think, great. I will put some on the screen for you now. I think this is just sort of evidence to show that what you're doing does work. So you have students saying, hey, this worked for me. This is what I appreciated. This is one I think that we pulled from your site. There's a few more that pop up, I think. I love that you've put this one from your site. What do you feel the feedback that you're getting as we look through some of these? What do you think the feedback that you're getting? What do students say to you?
Yeah, what they really like about Top Tutors is that they feel seen, and they feel also a special connection with our top tutors. And what we found is that our top tutors are more than just tutors. They're mentors, coaches. They're an inspiration to them. And also they're a friend. So they really understand these students' backgrounds and can help guide them to get them to the next level.
I want to queue up, we have a short video, I think it's a 1-minute clip that will play very quickly of one of your former students, I would assume at this stage, just giving a testimonial, so we'll take a look at that.
What I liked about working with Tutors for Us and my tutor Angelica was that all my lessons were very hands-on, and I would get real-time feedback on what I was doing wrong. There wasn't a lot of time where I would just getting lectured or having to sit there and wait a long time before I would get to do anything. It was really do a problem and get some feedback on what I did right or wrong in the problem. My areas of improvement definitely were English and reading. I brought my score up dramatically in both, as well as math and science, but mostly English and reading. So those were my main areas of improvement, just because those were my worst areas in the beginning, and at the end they were some of my best, to be honest with you. And having a Black tutor really made my experience just even that more special, just because I was able to connect with my tutor a lot quicker, and like having similar experiences and like having a similar background really made it so me and my tutor had a good time. So.
All right, that's great. And he is now a freshman in college, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
At SMU.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, at SMU? Yeah, that's great. That's great. I want to be sure, because we only have a couple minutes left, that I go back to our the accolades that you've received. And I know your recent Arch Grants, and I want to make sure we show those photos. So you are, Arch Grants, as people know, is a St. Louis nonprofit that annually awards $75,000 equity-free grants to startups. And so you are one of the recipients of that. So that's you at the Arch Grants. We've got the sign here. And how does that feel when you're up there on stage with your kind of cohort, all these, everyone? I'm just always so blown away by the recipients. How did that feel?
It was an incredible feeling. It's a prestigious award, so I feel tremendously honored. These were 22 startups selected from all across the world, and so I just feel super excited to remain in St. Louis and make an impact here.
And have your company here. And then you're also, we have the award for the Scandalaris Venture Competition, which is another very competitive one. And you're a winner of that. And I think, there you are. Is that
Yeah.
So, and I'm making WashU proud, I'm sure, for sure, with everything that you've accomplished. So, I mean, in this last minute, what's kind of next for you, do you think? I mean, just to grow the company, or what's next for you?
Yeah, so what's next is increasing our partnerships with schools. So we are with St. Louis Public Schools and we are with KIPP, so increasing more schools in the area so we can reach more students. Also developing our B2C, so direct to consumer model, and offering more better features on our app, so enhancing those. And also just tracking our students so we can, continue to collect great testimonials like we saw with Terrence.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Thank you for being here. I mean,
thank you so much for having me.
Well, I appreciate that. But in the startup world, I mean, I know every minute is accounted for. I mean, really, and I mean, I don't even know the details of what you're going through, but I think what you have done here just speaks volumes to your family, to you, to your character, and your commitment to education and to helping others. And just congratulations so far.
Thank you so
It's
much.
okay to to brag about yourself. It's okay to receive the accolades, and just best of luck with you. And please stay in touch with us so we know how things continue to develop for you.
Thank you again for having me.
Thank you. All right, well, if you want to learn more about Top Tutors for Us, we're going to put that information there for you on the screen. It's Top Tutors for Us. This is Angelica's business that she started right here in St. Louis in 2022. Really interesting work that she has taken from her whole life experience really and developed into this business. And I encourage you to go to the website and explore more, share it with others too, especially if it applies to students they may know who need that assistance. Angelica, thank you again for being here. Thank you. And thank you at home for watching, and keep it right here on STL TV Experience St. Louis. Thank you.